Okay, and welcome to the Supconnect live show as we continue our media SUP bonanza this week with pretty much all the highest profile athletes on set here at the show. And today we have yet here another great show with you, Jamie Mitchell. So Jamie Mitchell has been the most dominant figure in the traditional prone paddleboarding, especially as he does all the channel crossing from Molokai to Oahu. Also, great-looking guy, not gal, and we're gonna have a lot of great things to talk about as he comes from the prone background into the stand-up paddle racing scene and also the surfing scene. He has done quite a bit of travels there, and we just had Danny Ching, Connor Baxter, people coming from a lot of different sports, and here we have Jamie Mitchell coming from the prone traditional paddleboarding. So let's go right into the show and bring Jamie Mitchell into the set. So Jamie, welcome to the show. Thanks a lot for being here.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So all the way from Australia, but you just told me you got banned from Australia. Now you're in the U.S. And you spent the whole year here, right?
Yeah, I sort of relocated in, I want to say, the end of April. So I've been sort of in the States since then, traveling around and yeah, been on the road a lot. But
I know I've seen you in Utah and a lot of different events. So let's just backtrack just a little and talk about your background for those who don't know. You have like a strong lifeguarding background,
yep.
Also surfing background, then prone traditional paddleboarding background, and now a lot of stand-up paddling. So take us through that path.
Yeah, basically I grew up, learned how to swim at a young age. I had really bad asthma. So as a kid I was in hospital a lot, and the doctor was, hey, you need to take your kid to learn how to swim. Swimming is really good for asthmatics. And so basically, you know, got in the water swimming at a young age, like around 4 years old. And then our junior, what you call junior lifeguard program in America is NIPPers in Australia. I started that. Actually, you're only meant to be there when you're 5. My parents lied, so when I was 4, I was in the 5-year-old age group, and then I went through that process of, you know, right up into the senior ranks. So I, you know, learnt how to paddle. We learnt how to wade through the surf, dive under waves, all the basic stuff you learn as a young kid, and you know, you go up through the ranks and you learn about resuscitation, first aid, and you know, just all that stuff. And I went through, you know, the paddling. You know, a little nipper board to getting on my knees, to paddling a surf ski, to swimming, Ironman races.
That's actually a great tip. I'm going to get my 4-year-old to learn CPR so it's safer.
Yeah. So I did that right up until my early 20s, and basically at that stage, that's when I first went to Molokai and did a team race, and I was sort of at a crossroads I was sort of a little bit disillusioned with the lifeguard racing, and yeah, Molokai came at a good time, and then I sort of basically...
And what year was that?
First time I went to Molokai was 1999. I did a team with a buddy of mine, and so yeah, and basically after that I continued to do the lifeguard racing for a few years where I was doing both, and then once I decided I really wanted to try and win the race, then I started to focus all my energy on Molokai, and the lifeguard racing stopped, and it just sort of... yeah, just continued on.
And you become the most dominant figure on that channel. So how many wins have you had? Like 9?
Won 10. Yeah, my last one was 10, and then so yeah. I mean, look, it was a great run. I never expected it. You know, basically, at the start of, you know, the first 4 or 5 years of doing Molokai, I was a professional lifeguard full time, and you know, I'd work all through the summer, save all my money, and then, you know, spend 2 months, 3 months in Hawaii doing all the paddleboard races, do Molokai. And then I usually would continue on and do races in California, and then go to France, and then basically blow all my money, you know, rack up the credit card, go back to work, and do it all again. So, you know, yeah, and then I don't really know how it got to 10, to be honest. It just happened.
I mean, let's just take a quick look at this. So you got 32 miles, right? That channel from Molokai to Oahu.
Yeah.
A lot of cross-chop wind. It was just a kind of a washing machine with big swells.
Yeah.
And what is your training like? I mean, you're just 2 months crossing it multiple times, cross-training. How do you get to be dominant? And that's a big question that people have. for people like you, and then Kelly's later in surfing, how do you maintain that over like a decade?
Yeah, it's hard.
What's the secret there?
Sacrifice. You know, you have to sacrifice a lot. I sacrificed, you know, when I have a very obsessive compulsive personality. I'm either all in or I'm all out. If I'm in, I'm in. I'm focused. I don't, you know, I lived, when I was living in Australia, I lived overlooking the alley. I see the surf pumping every day, and I would bypass it, go swimming training, go swim 5-6 kilometres at 5 o'clock in the morning, come home, eat breakfast, be looking at the surf, it's pumping, I'd be resting, then I'd go paddle down the flat water in the creek, could see the waves.
That is commitment right there.
And that's what I did, you know.
I'm the ultimate beach bum.
Yeah.
Surf bum. If I see surf, I just get drawn in.
Well, you know, obviously I love the surf too, but I hate to lose. Right. And so when I was, you know, when I was focused on that event, that's what I was focused on. Nothing else mattered. And I guess that's what you have to do if you want to win, and if you want to, and you got to keep reinventing yourself. You know, you have to find fun ways to change training up. You know, you just can't do the same thing. You know, the first 5 years was really fun for me. Like I said, it was, you know, I was still working a lifeguard, and you know, it was just a holiday. It was fun, and you know, and then it got more serious. People started to go, okay, I want to try and beat you and beat this, and things got serious. And you know, then a bunch of really good guys from Australia started to come over, and you know, so that's, you know, there came a point where it, you know, it switched to being, and it's still fun, but it wasn't as fun, you know.
You
and
become a bigger and bigger part.
Yeah, and then it was like, okay, well that's fine. You know, I just switched modes, and I got more serious. My diet got better. I stopped, you know, drinking and partying as much, and you know, just, you know, because
I'm glad you said as much.
Yeah, because back in the old days, we'd be partying up until the week before Molokai, you know, and it was, you know, it was just because it was a holiday for us.
Oh man, I can't imagine what it was before.
Yeah, well, it actually became a lot easier. It didn't hurt as much. So, but yeah, you know, you got to sacrifice a lot, and it takes dedication and, you know, a lot of self-discipline, not just the training, but what I've found is I got the best out of myself when I was, you know, eating well, looking after my body, massage, chiropractic, and training, everything together. When you do it all together, that's when you really get the best out of yourself.
You said one thing here that I think is key, is like, how do you, after a while, it gets boring, right? Yeah. If you have that routine, how do you reinvent it so that you keep it fun? Because that, I think, is probably one of the, you know, highest hurdles for people who are training over several years. You kind of, you've done it all, you got it all under your belt, you're kind of like, how do I really want to keep doing this? How do you reinvent it and keep it fun?
Sometimes it was, you know, after the first 5 years, I never done any sort of weights or strength training. So I got on to a lady who was a really good strength trainer in Australia. So from years 6, 7, and 8, that was something new for me, and I saw a huge improvement. So that was something that, you know, was motivating me, and I could see the improvement. So that was good for those years. Years 9 and 10, to be honest, the hardest year was number 10. As much as it should have been the most motivating year, it took me a long time to get into the training year. But once I got in there, I was fine. But you know, stand-up came along as well. I started to use that as cross-training the last few years. I actually started paddling less. I only paddled 3 times a week on the paddleboard. I just started to train smarter, not harder. So I was doing less work, but more quality work. So I didn't feel like I was training as much. So that was mentally for me, it was another way that I could sort of not get burnt out. So, and plus, you know, once I trained the 3 to 4 months and Molokai was over, I didn't touch a paddleboard for 8 months, and that was until it was time to go again.
So is that kind of like the Jamie Mitchell routine? You do a lot of training, usually like early spring, summertime, build for the Molokai, and then afterwards you kind of go surfing, because I see you surfing quite a bit wintertime and big waves. Is that a big part of keeping it fun and cross training as well?
For sure. If I was to paddle all year round, I'd probably be retired already, or I'd be injured, or you know, something. So especially the prone paddling, it's such an uncomfortable position, and it's, you know, it takes such a lot of work. So definitely for me it was 4 months, and then surfing. Surfing's a perfect cross training for paddling, so that worked out really well. And so yeah, I think for me personally, it was a big thing for just 4 months of hard work of racing and training, and then the rest of the time, whether it was stand up or surfing, whatever, I'd still keep in shape. And then when it came time to get serious, I was ready to go into that block of training, instead of already being like trained for 6 months and then having to try and go another 4 months. So.
Alrighty, so a lot of insight there into what it takes to be a 10-time Molokai World Champion. We have a lot of great things coming up. We're going to be talking about gear, technique, fitness, diet, and obviously the BOP. And a lot of excitement around that. We have Jamie Mitchell, a former BOP champion. So we're going to go into a quick commercial break. If you do have questions, by the way, you can send us the questions either through our Facebook page or Twitter. But we're going to go to a quick commercial break right now, and we will be right back.
Simple, sleek, and powerful enough to change the way we live.
That's how Supconnect views the stand-up paddleboard.
Our continual pursuit to raise the level of performance and technology
is why we're the leader in stand-up paddleboards.
Our commitment to this philosophy and standard is reflected by our unrivaled 20-year
history and foundational belief in technological innovation.
A passion for the environment has led to technologies that will not break down and fill up landfills,
ensuring the current and future health of our oceans.
Imitators will come and go.
We are SurfTech.
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 We are SurfTech. Design, performance, innovation, and passion.
Okay, and we're back with Jamie Mitchell, all the way from Australia through the U.S. and a 10-time Molokai World Champion. So let's talk about gear. You got your own board model, so you've done a lot of bit of R&D. You've been on a lot of different kinds of boards, prone, surf, stand-up. So what are some of the features, if you had to highlight 3 features in board design that over the years you've said, these features work for these conditions and whatnot?
Yeah, our philosophy has been, coming from Australia, especially when we used to go to the Molokai race, was we couldn't have a quiver of boards. We had to basically come with one board, and that board had to, predominantly Molokai is the downwind conditions. It's quite rough, but you never. I've paddled the channel when it's been lightish winds, no winds, more north winds. So we really had to come up with a board design that worked in all conditions. So that's what I've tried to bring from the prone paddling design to my stand-ups, is that we can turn up to a race and it will do very well in most conditions. There's times where you have certain boards, your flat water boards, your rough water boards, but as in what I've done with the SurfTech model, the JM SurfTech models, is a board that you could turn up to a race and it can be a headwind, it can be downwind, it can be cross chop, it could be a little bit of everything, and the board will work in all conditions.
And what makes it that way? I mean, what are the features? I
think like the entry of the entry of the nose, the rocker. I've put a pretty square tail on my board, which has gone back to the life-saving days. It's sort of got inspiration off the 10-6 racing males, because they do a lot of like in and out of the surf, so I thought that would work well with the punching of the waves with the stand-ups, in the battle of the paddle type races.
That's a very unique feature of your board, is that tail, right? If there is one thing that you look
I think if you look at that, it's sort of, that's the first tail has sort of been like that, but yeah, so I think that it's a combination of all those things into one, but we're still trying to improve. There's always improvement out there, and we definitely haven't got the perfect board. we'll keep trying.
Yeah, let me know if one day anyone gets there.
Exactly, yeah.
Let's see. As far as paddle, you are obviously a quick blade paddler, and you know, all kinds of things there. You got like wide blades, longer shaft. What is your preference?
Yeah, it's funny actually. I used to have a stand. I used to ride a 100 blade elite racer. I played with the Magic, the dimple blade for a while. But this year I've been playing with a smaller size blade. I've dropped down to a 90, and also dropped down a few inches in the length as well, just to change it up a little bit.
So are you at about what, 10 inches, 8 inches?
Couldn't tell you. Yeah, I'm 81 at the moment, so whatever that is, I don't know. I think it's probably more like 9 maybe, something like that. But you know, I've got a pretty slow stroke, pretty long slow stroke. I find it hard to get a fast rating. So my theory behind the smaller blade and dropping it down was just to try and maybe be able to up my rating a little bit.
And that's the one thing that maybe people should know is your stroke is like, it looks like, for people who are watching, you don't have a very high cadence, very low cadence, but a lot of efficiency seems you get out of that. So you watch even Danny sometimes sprinting next to you, or even Connor. Connor seems like his lungs are just going crazy, and yet you have a very low cadence, but a lot of efficiency. And what's the trick? I mean, what is it? Core? Is it technique? Because it does work for some people, and for others,
I don't know. I just was self-taught myself to paddle the stand-up. So, but I just took everything. You know, I've paddled basically every craft you can think of. You know, so I've a lot of experience in paddling itself. So I just took some outrigger technique and surf ski with the twisting and rotation, and just when I'm paddling well, I feel that. I'm using a lot of my core muscles. I sort of feel like I'm twisting a lot, and everything's coming together. But a lot of people have said to me that try. It looks like I'm not trying, but trust me, I am. But I'm not sure what it is. But it's definitely, I think that there's a lot more than that. Learning how to breathe, relax while you're paddling, and just focusing on that catch. And look, to be honest, I'm no spring chicken anymore. Like I'm 35, and guys like Danny and Travis are 29. Connor and all those guys are like 18, so twice their age. So, they have the cardio to be able to do that choke down stroke and tap it so fast. Whereas, I still think I have good enough cardio to match it with those guys, but I just have never really seen the choking down of the paddle has never really...
And that'll be interesting because usually when you have like lower cadence, bigger blades, and now you're trying to boost that cadence up a little, smaller blade.
The smaller blade hasn't seemed to help with... I think it would allow me to get going faster. Say like if you get hit by a wave or the buoy turns where you slow down and get going. I think the initial first 3 or 4 strokes allow me to get it maybe up to my cadence faster, but when I'm still paddling, it seems like I still have the same slow stroke. I don't know. I guess I'm just stuck with it. I don't think I'm going to be able to change it.
Well,
so.
As long as you're moving just as fast, I guess it doesn't matter, right? It could be 1 stroke for every 20. As long as you're keeping that nose ahead of the other one. So. Let us know how it goes because, typically lower cadence, bigger blades, higher cadence, smaller blades. So we'll be watching.
No, for sure.
And so moving along here, as far as like fitness and diet. So anything else, we already talked a lot about the prone. You talked about like you do some gym. Are you still doing that? Do you run? Do you ride the bike? How does it look like?
I just bought a mountain bike, so I plan on trying to do a lot of riding through the winter. I'm going to be spending it mostly on Maui, so good for cardio, good for your legs. I've never rode before, so I think I'm going to another change in the training schedule, to keep it fresh. So strength training and weights has sort of gone out the window since I've been away. So I'll try and get back into that at some stage. But until I'm sort of based in one spot, it's hard to do anything.
Do you know who has like the most fun cross training ever? In my opinion, Morgan Hoistry. She's right here in the studio, but she goes diving and doing all crazy.
She's tried to get me diving, but I don't know. I'm scared. I'm scared of her. I'm scared of her.
Sometimes you see her just like detecting caves underwater, and you go like, "Oh my!"
I had a bad experience with that, so I'm a little bit freaked out. So
I know, me too. Almost died when I was a teenager doing that. So, all right, Jamie. And diet? Are you kind of like a nutrition freak? Or,
yeah, a little.
Are you really?
Yeah.
The beer aside, we should.
Yeah, right? Trying not to drink too much beer anymore either. But yeah, I've actually I've been working with a guy from New York called Adam Kellenson. He's an organic chef, and he's written a book called Athlete's Plate, and it's a really good book about organic performance for athletes and really easy to use recipes. And I connected with him about 6 years ago when he was writing the book, and I just reconnected with him in the Hamptons this year, and I did a sup camp with him and had him there cooking food, and that was just a really good timing for me to get back into eating organic, eating healthy, eating clean food. And so the last few months I've really been trying to, especially being on the road a lot, I've really tried to do the best I can. I was just in Europe for 2 weeks, so that sort of went out the window there. But now I'm back. I've always eaten really pretty healthy, but now I'm trying to take it to the next level and do all organic and just really eat nice and
everything,
healthy. So
fish, meat.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I eat everything.
Salad.
Everything. Yeah, you can put anything in front of me and I'll pretty much eat it. But
so take us through the day. What's usually what do you have?
Breakfast is usually eggs with sprouts, avocado. Lunchtime will be like a turkey or chicken wrap. It depends on how deep you go. With the whole organic and eat. I don't eat. I cook with coconut oil.
Oh, wow.
I don't eat bread. I don't eat butter. No processed foods. I try and everything's usually no, like try not to have any sauces, mayonnaise, anything like that. To the best. There's a limit, sometimes.
Yeah,
but
I already got disqualified a long time ago.
I have a pretty
bread, butter. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
it's all right.
Yeah. So I mean, that's like I figure that for me, you're trying to compete with these young kids. You've got to, you got to try and keep staying in the game, And
what about sweets, sugar?
I'm a huge sweet tooth, but I've been really good. I was just on the Motu Island, and me and Dave Kalama we were like, no desserts, no chocolate, and we were like, I'm like, okay, let's do it. So we didn't have a dessert or chocolate the whole time we were there. And so I'd be looking at him serving his food. I'd be like, no potatoes, no white rice for you. And he's looking at me going, come on, dude. I'm like, hey, we're on the program, right? So we were having fun with it. But for example, I won't eat white rice. It's got to be brown rice. I just try and stay away from like too many pastas and stuff. But but that's just me. Everyone's different. So, but if I'm stuck somewhere and I need to eat whatever, I'll eat it. But I try and do the best I can.
Okay. So let's not go eating together.
No, maybe not. Maybe not.
No, I'm kidding. All right. So one quick thing, because I kind of messed up the format a little. So if you had, going back to technique, which we kind of skipped, you touched on it, but I want to get a little bit of an insight from you here. So you engage a lot of your shoulders, a lot of your hip, and a lot of people are looking at that. It's like, man, it doesn't look like I can get my body to twist that much. Obviously, it comes with practice. But if you had to give some tips on, how to get your stroke to be a bit more efficient, what would you tell the people?
I've been traveling around doing some clinics and stuff. For me, there's sort of three things that I can, you can try and tell people a million things, they're going to walk away confused. So for me, I tried to break it down to three things. And the three things for me are recovery, the twist of the hips, and the combination of the body and the entry. If those three things are working simultaneously, that's when you're going to get the best out of your stroke. And they're three things that people can consistently think about. If you don't have a good recovery, your stroke's doomed. From the time you pull the blade out of the water, if it's if it's a bad, recovery stroke, everything's doomed. No matter what you do, it's going to be a bad stroke. So, if without a good recovery, you don't have a good stroke. So that's number one.
And is the exit usually for you at your toes, at your heels?
I'm trying to get it out before it gets past my bum. I don't know if I do that all the time, but basically the back of your ass, back of your bum. Sorry the language, but back of your bum is where I try and get it out, and then. People use the the twist of the top hand and the flick of the wrist at the bottom. That nice, like recovery, and then it feathers. My blade sort of feathers just above the water, and then that's when the next important part is the entry. Getting a nice, deep, strong entry at the front of the stroke. And then from the entry to the exit is where you connect the twisting and the body rotation. And so those three things, if you can get those three things to sort of start to, connecting up, that should help your stroke.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So Jamie, BOP coming up.
Yep.
You obviously got a lot of history with this event.
Yeah.
You've been like at the at the top of the charts on pretty much every year. You've won a year, and so tell us about how you're looking forward to this weekend.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. I don't think I'll go very well, but I haven't. My preparation this year's been a bit of a whitewash for me, but as in terms of training and racing, but I'm looking forward to it. The Battle of the Paddle is a race. That people should remember that it's not. It's about competition. It's about racing. It's about tactics. It's not always about the fastest guy. And so for me this year, that's my. I'll be going into it. Trying to use all my experience of racing and just to try and hang in there with those young kids. So, it's I've been paddling. I'm nowhere near 100% in shape, but I'll be out there giving it 110%.
Looks like the surf will be up.
Surf could be up, so that's going to change things up a little bit. But the same suspects will be there, except there's just more of them. You got the Europeans coming on strong, and a bunch of Australian guys that have been training probably harder than anyone right now that have just landed today. Then you got the Maui kids, all the California guys and girls. It's just there's a lot of people that could do really well. So it's exciting, and I think this year will be by far the strongest year. I think the only person that might be will be Travis Grant, that was injured, so which is a bummer. So he'll be the only sort of top guy that I think that probably won't be here. So.
You got a movie that's coming out
Yep.
or has come out. So, Decade of Dominance. Tell us about this.
Yeah.
Beautiful cover, by the way.
Thanks. Look, it was a little movie that we, going for number 10, I was like, well, what would be cool to, if this is my last year of prone, it'd be nice to document something to, one day if I ever have kids or, whatever, I can at least go, hey, this is what I used to do. You know what I mean? And just, it's been, obviously a decade of my life, so it was very important to me. And so I thought, hey, why not try and, film it and do something with it. So we, found a director and filmmaker, Brent Deal, and we got together and decided to do something. And, came out with the movie, and I think it's turned out pretty good. So,
And where can people get it?
Right now, we're sort of just about to get online and do a limited sort of edition DVD sale. So stay tuned for that.
To JamieMitchell.com.
We'll be launching something soon. So, but there'll be a limited edition, some signed copies that we'll be getting. So
stay tuned to Supconnect.
Stay tuned, and we're going to have them out soon. And then, I've been traveling around the country, the States, showing the movie at certain races and stuff. And we just showed it in Sweden at the Quicksilver store in Stockholm, which was pretty cool. So showed it in New York, and it premiered in Newport. So a lot of people come up and say good things about it. It's a purely a paddling movie. It's about the spirit of paddling. It's about Molokai and about me going for number 10. So it's you know, if you love paddling, I think you'd love the movie. So
there you go.
Yeah.
And Jamie, I got a surprise announcement for you.
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise announcement. I don't think you knew about that.
I don't like surprises.
Yeah, you don't like surprises. Well, anyway, this year you've been really engaged and involved with the stand-up paddle world. I mean, I've seen you at a lot of different events, on the road, traveling with Jimmy.
Yeah,
and,
pretty fun.
on all those road trips, and one of those, you are one of the most approachable, guys, and that's the nice thing about our sport. It seems like everybody's so approachable and friendly and helpful. You're always there with a beautiful smile at events. And this year, as we were doing our 3rd annual Supconnect Awards, we had our the first ever stand-up paddle awards in the industry. And we're looking, they're very competitive field. A lot of people have made a lot of contributions to it. Chuck Patterson was the first inaugural winner of that. Obviously, he was the biggest, highest profile for the sport in bringing it to the forefront. And we want to announce that you won the Supconnect Awards.
Really?
You're a Supconnect Man of the Year.
Wow.
So congratulations on that.
Thanks.
See? You didn't see that coming.
No,
so
I didn't see it.
Had the graphics
there you go.
put together. There you go.
Wow.
There you go. So Jamie Mitchell, 2012. You've done a lot for the sport, and we wanted to make sure that people are aware of that. So
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
As the world's first stand-up paddle awards, we're really excited to have you now on that roster of incredibly high profile, and all these people have contributed so much to stand-up paddling. So thanks a lot for all your contributions.
No worries. Thank you.
Keep up that smile.
Yeah.
Keep up with that grassroots connection. Yeah. And keep it cranking. Like you're a beacon of light for the older folks.
Yeah. Well,
Me,
I am getting up there.
Myself included.
I know.
Myself included.
Yeah.
So all right. Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks, Sonia. Thanks for having me.
And,
Thank you.
Guys, stay tuned. We'll get the word out on the video. So thanks for watching.